So Chris, would you say it's the biggest night of your career so far, beating James DeGale?
Absolutely. It was a career-defining, massive fight for me, and I would say the most important fight of my career. There was no room for any mistakes in this fight. I had to perform, I had to win. A loss would have left me with nowhere to go. I knew leading into that fight, as soon as that bell went, it was do or die.
Have you stemmed the bad blood between the two of you now? Is everything settled?
You know, we shook hands after the fight.
Have you been in touch afterwards or not?
No, I haven't been in touch with him. What am I going to do? Call him up. You're right, mate. How you doing? No, it's not that type of sport, to be honest. You know, it's respectful. You know, we're professionals. Can you forget years of bad blood in one night? Probably not. But I said I respected him just for the simple fact that he stayed in there. He took the beating. He didn't give up. He got up twice, 3 times. You know, that I respected, because a lot of fighters would have thrown in the towel, would have quit. You know, there was a lot of animosity in the build-up and just in general over the years between me and him. So to come away with that victory after him saying that I'm a fake and I'm delusional and he's 10 times the fighter I am, will any win be as satisfying as that? It's going to be tough to top that in terms of, you know, how it felt to beat my rival in James DeGale, because there's not too many other rivalries for me out there.
You always find one.
But yeah,
you always rub someone up.
Rivalries could be made in an instant. You know, in this day and age, all it takes is a tweet. There's a lot of big names out there, a lot of great fights to be made, and this year, 2019, is going to be very exciting.
You also hit him with a Spinebuster.
Yes, I did hit him with the Spinebuster.
Was that you were just fed up with him falling in after a single shot?
Yeah, you know what?
Because there was lots of times where it looked like it was going through your mind, and you didn't. And
yeah,
you kind of bit at the end.
It got to the stage where I was like, you know what? He's been grabbing me so much. I need to do something to stop him from doing this. The referee's not stopping him. The referee's not taking any points, so I'm going to have to take it into my own hands.
And it cost you a point.
I know. I thought to myself, you know, I was sitting down in the corner thinking, I know I'm going to get a point taken off me, but I think it's going to be worth it. It'll be worth it. You know, he's going to get the wind taken out of him. He's going to make him stop grabbing me like he is, and it's going to look good on Instagram. So.
So you did it for the gram.
Yeah, I did it for the gram. What can I do? What can I say?
Do you feel like you get the credit for the DeGale win that you deserve, based on people saying that beforehand, if James has got anything left, he wins? You beat him, James has got nothing left.
Listen, James said himself he was in the best shape of his life, no injuries, and you know, like I said, he said he was 10 times the fighter I was. People were saying he was going to outbox me. He was too experienced, too tough. I proved all those guys wrong. And that's all I can do, is go out there and win. With hindsight, did you get a lot of confidence from that infamous sparring session? Yes. I mean, I knew what happened in that spar. He knew. You know, that always gives a fighter that added confidence going into a fight, knowing that you've been in a ring with a man before and dealt with him. And when he's lying about it, you know, anyone who's not true to themselves, you know, usually that's going to reflect in how they perform. And he lied about a lot of things leading up to the fight, you know, not just about the spar. Little things like him saying he's seen me getting beaten up by my sparring partner, telling everyone he's seen me drinking, and just little random things that, you know, I'm looking at him like, why would you be saying stuff that's just completely untrue? But at the same time, even though it was annoying, I was glad I was hearing it, because if someone can sit there and barefaced lie to you, that means they're not a champion. You mentioned rivalries. After the fight, George Groves came and had a picture taken with you. Yeah, George came into the dressing room, congratulated me. I think he was nearly as happy as I was that I'd beaten James DeGale. Him and James, obviously, a long history of bad blood. So he was over the moon. And
because you weren't best friends either, though. You and George coming into your fight.
Listen, you're never best friends with somebody you're going to fight. That's just how it is. But I always respected George. I never disliked him. He was just a guy that, you know, I was going to fight. And you know, but James was a different thing. I didn't like James as a person. We just didn't get along. But yeah, George was always very professional. He was never, you know, he was never disrespectful like James was. So, you know, I've only got good things to say about George.
A couple of guys have mentioned you in recent weeks, as they often do, but Billy Joe Saunders has talked about a rematch, and he's a guy who's also flitting between 160, 168. Is that something that interests you?
It will always interest me, just because of our history, but he doesn't have a belt. If he had a belt, it would be different. But for right now, the belts is what I'm campaigning for. You know, this is why I got into the sport, to be a world champion, to collect the belts, to fight the best. And there's a lot of guys out there that would be great fights for me that have these belts. So we'll see. Just
to get your response on it as well, Liam Williams has called you out a couple of times, or mentioned your name a couple of times. He fought at the Albert Hall last weekend. And is that a fight that you could possibly see down the line, or would you only fight him if he brings a belt to the table?
I have no idea who Liam Williams is.
Okay. All right, I had a feeling you may say that. There's also Callum Smith, who's the champion at 168, recognised the champion after the World Boxing Super Series. That a fight that would be high up on your agenda?
Callum Smith, great fight. Has the belts, has the name. Definitely a fight that would interest me moving forward.
Yeah, sure. Do you think any of these fights are inevitable with these big names? Is there one guy that you can really envisage in your future having a huge fight against? I
think Canelo. I think that, you know, he is the most well-known fighter in the world at the moment, and he's in and around my weight. So that is a fight that, you know, as long as everything stays on track, that will be inevitable that we will share a ring. You had Nate Vasquez for the last fight. Do you regret not bringing either Nate in earlier or having that kind of strategy towards your fights from the start? Yeah, you know, I've been asked this so many times. I'm not going to use the word regret, because I've had such a great career. I've had so many great wins. I've built up such a huge fan base, you know. Everything happens for a reason, you know. Would I have benefited from having, you know, a solid 24/7 trainer in my life, in my career? Probably, but who knows? Maybe it would have messed with my head, or maybe I would have not performed the way I performed in my last 28 fights. So yeah, it's hard to say, but for as of right now, I'm very happy with having a trainer, with having that focus, that tailored approach to a fight, working on things that, you know, are tailored to the man you're fighting, which I've never really done before, or I never did in the past. I see the benefits of that now. Several people have acknowledged that you were booed in and cheered out against James DeGale. Do you prefer either or, the boos or the cheers? I mean, listen, I'm not, you know, I'm a human being. Of course, I'd rather be cheered than booed, but I have no problem with being booed. Because you're also a businessman, because you know that as long as you're getting a reaction, as Floyd Mayweather would say, you're relevant, right? That's right. You don't want to be the middleman. You want to be hated or you want to be loved. That's what I've always been throughout my entire career. Some people love me, some people hate me. Do you want to be liked? Is that a thing? Or do you not care? Do I want to be liked? In an ideal world, sure. But I understand that it's not an ideal world. People will always find a reason not to like you. People will always love to hate. That's a very British thing we have here. People love to hate. So let's just talk a little bit about this. Why do people like you? What do you think people see in you that they like? think I bring excitement, character, something to talk about. You know, I bring something different to boxing. So many of the fighters out here these days, it's just meat and potatoes, get in, oh, I'm gonna knock him out, fight, thanks, good night. That's it. There's no story, there's no reason to really be interested. They don't know how to talk, they don't have any interest, they don't have any philosophies, they don't have anything to say for themselves outside of, I go to the gym, I train hard and I fight. You know, I'm not just a fighter. I've got a mind. I've got a personality. Some people don't like the personality. Some people think that I'm arrogant or brash or flash or whatever you want to call it. Some guys say that I'm an entertainer. Either way, I'm not the middleman. The middleman is the guy that they fight on Saturday night, and people will sit down and they say, all right, his fight's on at 10 o'clock, but that's when the club opens and there's a girl there I really like. So you know what? I'm gonna go to the club and I'll watch the replay tomorrow, or I'll find out from a mate what happened. I'm not gonna tune in. There's that girl's fine. I've got to be in the club, or I've got other things I've got to do. If they love you, forget the girls, forget mates. I'm at the fight, or I'm buying a pay-per-view. I'm watching him. If they hate you, I've got to be there. I've got to be tuned in. I want to see this guy get knocked out. You don't want to be in the middle. That's one thing I've always understood from the very beginning. The people that were against me or not believing in me, they're starting to come over to the light. To the light. They're leaving the dark side slowly. So yeah, it's good. It's fun.
Do you think people know you as a person?
There are some people that just see me in the ring. They just see me punching people and being confident, and that's all they know. So that's how they judge me. But if you sit down and listen to me, or you meet me in the street and talk to me, you realise, hey, this guy's not too bad.
Do you love the sport?
Absolutely. I didn't need to box. I had everything I needed growing up as a kid. I went to private school, I lived in a big house, food on the table every night. There was no reason for me to box. Most fighters...
Your dad didn't want you to,
no,
did he?
And my father would ban me from boxing for many years as a kid. You know, you look back at history and the big names in the sport, most of them came from nothing. And that's what fueled them to become so successful in the sport, because they had no other choice. It was either fight and win or starve. I was not in that position. I believe my success in boxing has come from the love of the sport, the love of competition, and the boxing blood I have coursing through my veins. All those things was what drove me and fueled me to go and do the things I've done in the sport. My father genuinely didn't believe that I would be tough enough to enter the sport.
Because of the life he'd given you and the childhood he'd given
because
you.
I was comfortable. Comfort doesn't breed champions. It doesn't breed hunger. It doesn't breed warriors. You know, people that come from privileged backgrounds, it's hard for them to have that fire inside of them to go and fight another man and tough it out, because they're not used to hardship. If something goes wrong, you know, all right, well, it's okay. We'll help you out and we'll sort it out. There's always this and that we can do, and people that come from hardship don't have that.
This fire you talk about that's in you, where did it come from, where you get this thing that burns inside, that makes you want to fight?
I mean, we are a family of fighters. You know, looking back at the history of our family, fighting has always been a part of our culture. So that definitely had something to do with it, I believe. It became an obsession to me to be the best at whatever sport I was doing, whether it was running, whether it was swimming, cricket, rugby. I got a high off of outpointing, outgaming, being stronger, faster, more athletic than other kids around me. I guess, you know, some kids, they want to be the smartest. They get a high off of being able to do math the best, or being able to revise and learn the most about history or whatever. For me, it was sport. For me, it was competition. And once I found boxing, once I was allowed to step into a boxing ring, after my father stopped me from doing that for a few years, I realized that, wow, this is the ultimate form of competition. You can't get anything more pure, more true than you and another guy in the ring, gloves on, seeing who wants it more.
I mentioned that, keeping the hunger. One thing that George Groves has said since he's retired is how his mindset changed with kids. That could be a game changer, couldn't it?
It could be, you know. This is, that's a very serious thing. And
would you let them box?
Yes, I would. I wouldn't push them into the sport. It's not that type of game. You know, it's not like any other sport in the world. You can't really force a child to fight. Either they have it inside of them or they don't. If they don't and you push them in, that's very dangerous. No matter how amazing and fantastic that story would be to have, you know, a third generation of Eubank get into the ring and be successful. If it's not inside them, you can't force that. You can't push it, because it's only going to end in tears. But if my son or daughter said, Dad, you know, I want to try it. I want to get in the gym and train and do what you did, how could I say no? There's no other feeling like having your hand raised at the end of a fight.
So how do you get that out of your system by 35?
We'll find out. Maybe I have to buy a few more cars, I don't know. But it really is a drug. And once you've tasted it, you want it more and more and more. And I guess that's what makes it so hard for many fighters to walk away from the sport. But I don't think that's going to be me. If for whatever reason, you know, at a certain age, my abilities start to lessen, you know, I don't want to be remembered as that guy, which a lot of fighters do, that just starts getting beaten up and knocked out and, you know, just trying to make a little payday here and there. It's not worth it.
So this is an old family haunt, is it? You're a regular here and your dad used to be a regular here.
Coming here for years and years and years since I was a kid. Some of the best ice cream in Brighton. Obviously you've got the views, good food, good vibes, especially in the summer. This is the place to be.
So are you good with your diet normally?
I try to be. You know, now that I've moved up to super middleweight,
you've got a bit more room to play with.
I can actually eat whatever I want, really, but obviously you've still got to keep things healthy and responsible.
Yeah.
Boxing in Vegas is massive. I went to high school out there, graduated. Yeah, I mean, it was a massive culture shock. No friends, no family. People making fun of my accent, getting picked on for having a British accent and having to understanding that I had to set the rules from the get-go. I got into a fight with two kids within the first 2 weeks for picking on me because of my accent and because they were jealous because all the girls loved it. I was getting all the attention. But I knew I have to let these guys know I'm not the guy to play with from the get-go. If I let it go now, then it's just going to continue for the next year while I'm in the school. So I let them know from the jump, do not mess around with me. I'm not the guy. You know, over here, kids know Eubank. Over there, they know, they knew Roy Jones and Leonard and Hagler. Those, you know, they knew the American guys. So it wasn't as much pressure, you know. And then the pro gyms, Top Rank, and then at Floyd's. Again, it's the pros. They're there to make a living. They're there doing their jobs. They're not so much worried about who I was. Whereas, you know, when I was over here, every gym I went to, it was like a spectacle. Chris Eubank's son. Wow, let's film him. Let's put him up against this guy and that guy, and let's see what he's got. So yeah, it was much easier for me to concentrate and focus without the added pressure when I was over there in the States.
What does the surname mean to you now? Has it been a blessing?
It's been a blessing and a curse, but it could have been something really negative and hard for me to deal with. I turned into a positive. I turned it into something that helped me and fueled me. Having the pressure of that name, having to live up to all the expectations from the very first fight, my very first pro fight on Channel 5 in front of 2 million viewers, being compared to my father from day one, which wasn't fair. You know, they're comparing a novice, 21-year-old novice to a legend in the game. You know, oh, his first fight, oh, he's not his dad. Of course I'm not my dad, it's my first fight.
Well, obviously it's well known that your dad didn't want you to box, but what about your mum? Did she have an opinion? Did she want you to or not want you to?
My mother was always fully supportive. She was always behind me in anything I did. It didn't matter if it was boxing or being in a play. She supported me. She'd take me everywhere I needed to go.
So she said, whatever you want to do, I'll support you. And that was her attitude.
For many years, I didn't allow her to come to the fights.
In case?
I just didn't want that that added bit of pressure, knowing that my mother was in the crowd.
What was in the stress it might be bringing to her?
Yeah.
So thinking about her and what she's going through,
yeah.
watching.
But now, I'm more settled. I know what I'm doing when I'm in a boxing ring, when I'm in a fight.
There's less of the unknown for you to confront with, to worry about her. Yeah,
so I know how to control my emotions more. So it's not such a big deal her being there. Yeah, I went out to Cuba when I was just before I turned pro, and I was training with the Olympic team out there before the 2012 Olympics, and I said actually leading up to the fight that I've never done technical sparring. That's never been a part of my training. For me, sparring has always been, you treat it like it's a real fight. And I had that same mindset back then. Out there, they have technical spars, but they don't speak English. So I was sparring with the light middleweight and the super middleweight representatives for Cuba, and I went hard. And I guess that day was supposed to be a technical spar, and I hurt one of the guys pretty bad. So then I came back 2 days later, and they said, "Oh, we got this guy. We're gonna put you into spar with him." And it was the super heavyweight representative for Cuba. He did not respect the size difference at all. I think he'd been told by the head coach what I had done in a couple of days before, and he beat the hell out of me for 3 rounds. So it was a 3-round spar. He knocked me out of the ring in the first round. I said to myself, there's no way I'm letting this guy have the story of running me out of the ring. I said, all right, I'm gonna get hurt, but I'm gonna stay in the ring for the 3 rounds. And that was really the day when I realized, okay, this is, I could do this. If this guy can't knock me out, catching me flush with shots and I'm still standing, yeah, it hurt, but I didn't get knocked out, didn't quit. If he can't make me quit, what middleweight's gonna make me quit? Nobody.